I want to talk about Drag Race and narrative arcs. I'm going to talk for 10 seconds. So if you did not see last night's episode, scroll away. If you watch this on double speed, it'll be 5 seconds, but I'm giving you guys enough time to scroll away. We're talking about spoilers. I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist, but I do think last night and the elimination of Suzie Toot was a little bit of a failure of a narrative arc. If you guys follow me, you know that I'm mostly a book account, but I also talk about narrative on reality shows and story and the way that these shows are manipulated to tell us a story, right? A couple of weeks ago, when Suzie Toot was winning the competition, I was saying that they were setting her up for a jinx edit because she was getting bullied by the other girls, or not bullied, but you know what I mean. They all hated her. They were all ganging up on her, and every single Untucked, they were like, you're trash, whatever. And it was like, okay, you're just giving the audience more reason to root for her, right? Because we love an underdog. And that's exactly what happened on season 5 with Jinx. This season was interesting because, like, Suzie was sort of safe for many of the challenges after the halfway point, right? Like, after Snatch Game, she never really did, like, that well again. She was never in the bottom, but she was never, like, slaying. But the other girls still saw her as competition. The other girls still couldn't stand her. The other girls couldn't take her, as she said, in the pit stop, or it's just an interesting dynamic because to the other girls, she seemed very arrogant and like was giving off these airs of like, I'm better than you, allegedly. And we didn't see that. We never ever saw that on camera, right? She was confident. And even Michelle Visage in their little interview after was like, you have to toe the line between arrogance and confidence. But like in her last episode, she was kind of defeated, right? Like she flopped at the video, she flopped at the interview with Latrice, she flopped at the dance challenge. She didn't like look her best. This was her best look, but at the actual dance, the little dress and the hair, not great. It just is sort of a failure of storytelling to like maybe set up this like hoist by your own petard narrative where it's like your arrogance will destroy you in the end, because we didn't see that happen, right? With Lucy LaDuca, she had sort of both edits where she was cracked because she wanted to win so bad, so they drove her crazy on purpose, which they've done to many other queens. I talked about it in my previous video. They did it to Jan. They love to do it to Broadway queens. But also, they did the hoist by your own petard narrative where Lucy thought she was doing so good, and then they had Lux and Mistress team up to destroy her, and we're like, no, actually, we're gonna get rid of you, and then they got rid of her right before the finale, right? It's interesting because Nymphia's edit reminds me of Suzie's edit, where they sort of dominated the first half of the season, and then in the second half, they like weren't really around, right? Like Suzie's storyline was sort of in service of Lexi's storyline, where Lexi was very, very threatened by Suzie, but Suzie wasn't like terrorizing her. She wasn't doing much of anything. She was just sitting there. And so Nymphia won the season last season, even though she was barely in any of the last half of the season, right? We've already seen Sam's storyline, right? We do it every single season. There's always a pageant girl who discovers that she's funny, right? We did it with Trinity, we did it with Kennedy, we've done it over and over and over again, where it's like there's always one pageant girl who's like, oh my God, guys, I have more to show than like beautiful dresses. And everyone is like, okay, right? Like, I don't know if Sam deserves to be in the finale. Like, she is very, very, very polished, but I agree with the judges, what they said last night, where it's like, there is still this armor, there's still this artifice. Like, in all of her confessionals, she's like, I am the sassiest girl that ever lived. And you're just like, okay. Like, I don't know how much reality we're getting. And like, I watch a lot of reality TV. I'm always talking about charisma. I'm always talking about like personalities and people who like pop on camera versus people who don't. Sam is good on camera, but like, is she real? Is she authentic, right? And this could be the Laganja thing of like, this is my real personality. And when I'm with my friends, I do say yes, mama. I just don't know if the like very, very, very technically proficient Nepo baby storyline, like Sam is 24 years old. She can come back for All Stars for the rest of her life and she will still be very young, right? Like, technically proficient Nepo baby who is very, very beautiful, but like a little bit stiff. We have kind of done it. I don't know. I'm not like interested in this narrative, and I'm kind of interested to see where the failures of the editing are, that we don't see Suzie being like evil. We don't see Suzie being arrogant. The judges never told her to change up her makeup or her style, right? Like, she did it at the beginning of the season to like throw them off so that she wouldn't get that feedback the way that some of the other girls did. But like, now we're sort of at this weird point where it doesn't feel earned. Like, this didn't feel earned. Suzie's elimination doesn't feel earned. On a story level, it doesn't feel earned because like, we didn't see, there's not this like karmic comeuppance where we're like, she deserved to go home, she was evil, right? Like, we're not seeing any of that. It just feels kind of random. And I normally am like, yeah, no, that makes sense. With Crystal Envy, you guys packed me up because you were like, she deserved to be here, and I'm like, eh. But like this, I don't know. I'm rooting for Anya and I'm rooting for Jules, but everyone else, I don't know.